Okay, well, welcome to the Fat Loss Masterclass. I had to change the time, so thanks for attending. And lots of people are going to be watching this back later. So at the moment, I've got Gary and Ben who have joined us, and I've asked them to just ask any questions as they crop up, because likely if you're watching the recording, you're going to have questions, and that's totally fine. And you can always drop those questions into the Facebook group. I'm going to give everybody access to a Facebook group at the end. And I want you to know that there's nothing to buy during this. This is not a sales pitch for anything. So it's just a Fat Loss Masterclass it's to share what I've learned this year so far. And, you know, in my whole time of doing transformations, and to give that knowledge to as many people as possible, particularly members. Maybe you've been a member for quite a while. Things have changed a lot in the last 2 or 3 years, and you'll be seeing these kind of transformations happening, and maybe you haven't really had one yourself. So, you know, you've got Vicky there, Jeanette, Ollie, and Rachel, all done like really, really well. And perhaps you want to re-engage yourself in the process, and that's part of the reason for doing this. So this is what I'm going to go through. I've got a confession to make. I'm going to talk about how to get the most out of the session. Who am I? And then I'm going to talk about the bullshit ways to lose fat versus the real ways to lose fat, and the methods and things that I've noticed are kind of a bit like not really true. Not true, but there's a deeper reason as to why they work. And then I'll give you some tools to take away. That's kind of the plan. So the confession, well, the confession is, this will help you lose fat, but I'm not actually going to talk about how to do it. That's not really my intention for everybody, not just fat loss. This is not just about fat loss. This is about helping you live with exceptional health and well-being. And fat loss is a part of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's not so much about how we look. Okay, yeah, we care about that, but having excess fat on our body is just unhealthy. And my personal goal is I want to live to 200 years old, and I want to spread what I learn and what I'm learning to as many people as possible. And my intention is to provide the best coaching in the world to help people get to where they want to be as quickly as possible. I have had some great coaching in my time, and it's like it's an accelerator to progress. We can make pretty good progress on our own, sort of stumbling through and researching, but when you really dial into one voice and one methodology that has been proven, the success that you will have is much bigger. And what I've noticed recently, so I've just signed up with a new coach myself, and it's only 2 days ago that I did that, and already I'm like laser focused in on what he's talking about, what his way of doing things is, because he has a proven process and it works. But I was like taking bits and bobs from everybody, you know, and I was getting confused, and there's too much noise. And I think this exact same thing happens with fat loss and with fitness and health. We're listening to like 10 different voices and methodologies, and we're like, oh, maybe I'll try the I don't know, the cabbage diet, and maybe I'll try the the only eat cheese diet or something like that. And I mean, it's just like so confusing. And so what I'm saying is, go all in on one. And it doesn't have to be me and what I'm saying, but if you're a client of mine, then I would suggest just go all in on what we do, because it does work. It has worked numerous times. So that's my confession. This is not just about fat loss. How to get the most out of this session. listen as if it was your hero speaking. And I don't say that because I'm on some kind of ego trip and I want to be your hero, but because if you were into football and David Beckham was here teaching you about football, you'd be really paying attention. You'd be on the edge of your seat listening to every single word. And I say this to everybody who I start working with now, because it was said to me when I started working with somebody. And I say the same things to people, and some people hear it and some people don't. And guess what happens to the people who hear it?
Well, they'll achieve their goals, I suspect.
Yeah. Unsurprisingly, as you have,
Exactly.
You have achieved a lot.
Yeah.
And then there are some people who don't hear it, and obviously they remain frustrated and they remain in where they are, or even it gets worse, perhaps. So there's just suggestions. This is a suggestion to really pay attention and give this the presence, because if you're rewatching this, perhaps you're rewatching the recording, you might be, I don't know, cooking your dinner whilst you're listening to it. You might be doing out for a walk or whatever, and that's great. But I would suggest that you do what these guys are doing who are here now. I can see Ben's got like a pen in hand. He's ready to take notes. He's going to get something from this that maybe you wouldn't get if you were kind of half-assed listening to it. And a big part of having success in anything, what I've realized is it's about committing to it, like really commit to it. And the guy who I'm getting coached by, his whole thing is about going all in. Go all in on what you want to achieve. And if you want to achieve fat loss, go all in on it. Take it seriously. If you half-assed do it, then the reality is you're going to get half-assed results. That's the truth. And I always also want to say, before I really get into this, is if I say something that sounds judgmental or sounds a bit harsh, I just want you to know it's not. It's not. It's intended to make a point or to help you get to where you want to go. Okay. So be coachable, be commitment, and be consistent. Those are the suggestions, because I know those things work. And when I find somebody who's coachable, committed, and consistent, I'm excited because I know they're going to get results. And coachability means thinking about your thinking. To me, that means thinking about your thinking. And commitment is what I've just said, really committing to it, really going for it, no excuses. Be aware of your excuses and don't make them. And then consistency is about, it's obvious, but it's about, you are going to go off track. There is no doubt about it. And just expect it. Don't expect everything to go wrong. Sorry, don't expect everything to go right even, because it won't. You'll go off track at times. And actually, one of the things I listened to the other day was, what are you going to do when you get injured? Ben, what are you going to do when you get injured?
What am I going to do when I get injured?
Yeah. What did you do? What did you do?
Work around that injury.
Exactly. And because you did that, you got over that injury really quickly, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
There's another option that most people would have done.
Yeah.
And they would have gone and, I can't exercise today because I've got an injury. And we're talking about fat loss. So what are you going to do when you get injured? Well, I'm going to be creative. I'm going to work around it, or I'm just going to sit at home and do nothing
and eat cake.
Eat cake.
Feel sorry for myself,
Yeah.
but no, I didn't. You're right. I used your expertise and the other coach's expertise to help me continue to exercise.
Yeah, and that's going to get there. And Gary, you've had similar situations, right?
Yeah, and like Ben said, you just work through it and you work around it. Yeah,
and I'll never say like push through the pain. It's not about pushing through the pain, and we never do that. I mean, if you've got a bad hamstring, then we'll find you've got 3 other limbs. You've got another leg and 2 other arms. So there's plenty you can do with those other bits of your body. So, and for fat loss, most of it's going to be nutrition. 80% of your results are going to be down to sticking to a proper plan and being consistent with the plan. And there's no getting around it. A lot of people want me to say things like, all you have to do is eat less and move more. Right? If it was that bloody easy, how come it's not working? Okay. But at the same time, it is quite simple because it is about sticking to a plan and doing a bit of exercise. It is pretty simple. Okay. So that's how to get the most out of this. So the bullshit reasons, the BS reasons. I could have spent this whole session talking about what foods to eat, how much protein to eat, how much water to drink, how much sleep plays a part. But all that information is out there and you already know it. And if you don't quite know it, you can go to the website, wit.fit, and you can download our nutrition guide for free, which is years and years of refinement to help you create a plan, which will help you lose fat. So there's the how-to. So the BS reasons, the reasons that everybody wants to know is, what do I do to lose fat? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. What do I do? And you probably come into this like, what can I do? And I'm going to tell you there's nothing to do, but there's everything to be. So it's nothing about what you're doing, but it's about who you're being. And another kind of way of explaining being is it's our identity. So if I adopt an identity of being extremely overweight, no amount of doing is going to change it. Are you tracking that? Does that make sense? Or not really?
Ish.
Ish. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to explain it a lot more, so don't worry. And also, it took me a while to understand this. So when the recording goes out, maybe you want to watch it again, because I'm just planting the seed with you at the moment. It took me a while to really understand this, but this comes from some of the best coaching that I've ever had, and it's what I've incorporated into my coaching recently, which is why we've had such incredible results with people. So it is pretty profound, but I'm going to explain it in a different way. And this is what happens with this coaching is we get results like this. In 6 weeks, off antidepressants, less anxiety, less depression, more confidence, no heartburn, no IBS, more energy, better role model for kids, more positive. That was 6 weeks. That was amazing. That was one of the best results I've ever seen. And like I say, it took me a while to get this, and I haven't always been fit. I've not always been fit and healthy. A lot of people think I have, but I haven't. I used to smoke. I used to drink. I used to be overweight. I used to experience depression, low confidence, self-esteem, and I still experience it from time to time. That's why I've signed up for with my own coach to get my own coaching, because I want to take what I do to the next level as well. I'm ex-military. For those of you who don't know, served in Afghanistan and Iraq. I've worked with Tutu SAS, who are Special Forces section of the army. So that was pretty good. It was a high performing environment. I left that and then ended up doing personal training. Worked in various different gyms, ended up in East Wittering, opening up Wittering's Fitness. And that was in 2018. And then 2021, I decided to do, I turned 30 and I decided to do an Ironman. Did it in 2021. And I decided to do that because I was talking a lot about mindset and thinking and who do you need to be to actually be fit and healthy. And I felt like I really needed to prove that it worked. And that's why I did the Ironman, to actually go, look, I was a smoker and now I've done a bloody Ironman. If I can do that, anybody can get fit and healthy. Anyone can lose their gut. You see, if you do that half of, like, I'm not saying everyone should do an Ironman at all. I'm just saying it's possible. But if it's possible for me to do it, and like you look at me and think, of course it's possible for you. You own a gym.
Yeah.
But I'm not looking at me like that. I'm looking at me like I was smoking. I was drinking. I was spending all my wages on going out every month for about 2 or 3 years, maybe even longer than that, actually. So I wasn't fit. I couldn't run down the road. I couldn't swim more than 25 meters. And I didn't own a road bike. I've certainly not always been into endurance. But I did it. So if that's possible for me, then it's possible for anybody to lose body fat and hit their ideal body weight. It's totally possible. So I thought I'd share that with you, just so you know I've not always been super fit and healthy. If you want to connect with me, if you're watching the video and you're not already connected, just search for @CoachBenPrice. It'd be nice to know what your health is like right now. What's your biggest challenge, and where do you want to go? What are you committed to going to? Okay, so why am I so interested in health and fitness? And this is why, because I found this for myself. This is about my whole life. I wanted to get some focus in my life. I was smoking, I was depressed, I wasn't thriving as a human being. And then I found this thing and I was like, okay, this is cool, right? Now I can make a plan in each one of these boxes. And what's this at the center? Health and well-being. Okay, why is it at the center? Well, it's kind of obvious. If you're sick in bed, nothing's getting done, right? Whereas what's the opposite of being sick in bed? Really fit and healthy, high energy. That is the ultimate force multiplier. That means that there's no other box that could be 10 out of 10, which would affect the rest of those boxes in such a profound way. So I was like, okay, I need to take this seriously. I need to, if I want everything else in my life to be great, then actually maybe my health and well-being needs to be taken seriously. So that's why I got into health and well-being, got interested, and started to coach other people. And this is how I coach now. This is what I was getting to earlier, which was it's being. This is a river of kind of how things flow in terms of our thinking, our feelings, and then what we do. So the result is at the bottom. And the result is what we're all here, what we're all listening to this video for. The result is I want to lose body fat. Let's say, rather than I want to lose body fat, but let's say I want to achieve healthy body fat for my age. That's kind of the first goal I set for people when they join or they start working with me. Now, one up from that stage is doing. So that's what I said earlier. Everybody wants to know what to do. Hey, Ben, what food do I eat? Hey, Ben, what time to go to bed? How much exercise do I do? How much protein should I eat? How much water should I drink? How many times have we been through that cycle? How many times have you sort of looked into that in the past? Was it really the first time when you came to me, or have you done it kind of before? Maybe it was.
I don't know. I probably spent a few times looking at what I ate.
Yeah.
And making. I think it was probably more making the meals what I thought would be healthy. The eating pasta, eating vegetables, not eating hardly any protein, for example, is what I didn't. My biggest change was eating protein.
Yeah.
I spent more time eating carbs, but unconsciously.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say
you were unconscious about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but thinking it's a bit of salad and a bit of pasta, and it's not from a packet as such, from the freezer, processed. So therefore, it must be healthy. And I'm not saying it isn't healthy. It's
Yeah.
just not as healthy as it could have been, or nutritional as it could be.
Okay, so for you, it wasn't so much that you knew exactly what to do and you weren't doing it. You just were completely kind of unconscious to what to do.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but doing what I thought was right.
Right. Yeah. And so for you, it was just like, here's the actual thing that's going to work for you then.
Yeah.
And then you went away and did it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, eating. I can't tell you for as long as I've lived, the last time I had 3 meals a day, whereas over the last 13 weeks, I've had 3 meals a day.
Yeah. And what about you, Gary? What's your sort of experience, do you think?
Well, since I've been communicating with you, I've always been getting up early in the morning, going straight to work, and I've never bothered about breakfast or anything like that. So since talking to you, I've started now for the last 6-12 months. I'm having sort of porridge first thing in the morning, and that's sort of keeping me through. And that's stopping me eating all through the nitpicking through the day. One of my big things is I don't eat a lot during the day, but when I get home, that's when I'll sort of I'll have a bit of this and I'll have a bit of that, and then I'll sort of have a bit of that, and then I'll go and get me dinner, sort of thing.
And what's the bit? What is that? What is that bit of this, bit of that? If you don't mind sharing.
Croissant or a hot cross bun, or a couple of biscuits while I'm having a cup of a drink when I get in from work.
Okay.
Then I'm sort of going around and getting the tea, sort of thing, and whatever we do from that, whether it's pizza or pasta or whatever sort of thing.
Okay. And is it fair to say that you kind of know that those things are not? I'm not going to say good or bad, by the way. I'm going to say I'm saying useful or non-useful. Okay, and there's a reason for that. But would it be fair to say that you kind of know that's not going to be useful for your goal of losing fat?
Yeah, but I'm there thinking, well, it's only one sort of thing.
Yeah,
that's not going to make much of a difference. I mean, it's not like it's like opening a box of chocolates, and only having 1 or 2. You don't eat the whole box, sort of thing. So small, little bit everything in moderation, sort of thing. So, and another thing I've noticed where I put weight on was when I was working, I was quite active, but then I changed a few jobs and I started driving about a lot more, and that sort of, I noticed that sort of put a bit of weight on.
Yeah,
and not walking about during the day. So I try and be a lot more active during the day now, walking and things like that sort of thing. And I say getting down to you wherever I can.
Yeah,
that's basically noticed.
That makes sense. So you're kind of thinking that 1 or 2 of these little things are not going to make a big difference, but the ultimately for you is, if we're kind of being brutally honest, is that you haven't got the result you want.
Well, as I say, I'm not. I don't. I'm not sort of overweight, and I'm not I'm not vastly overweight, but I'm not sort of wanting to slim down to have 6 packs and all that lot. But I want to get a bit more energy energy and be sort of for health reasons and things like that.
Yes.
As you're getting older, I want to try and like you, elongate everything as you can.
Yeah, you want to be. You don't want to be absolutely shredded, but you want to.
Yeah, I don't want to be sitting down watching the telly, eating biscuits and Pringles and that. But
okay, that makes sense.
I'm not an Iron Man sort of thing, and
exactly. Yeah. That's fair. Well, the thing is, and this is my own reflection on me as well. This is not necessarily on you guys, but I know whether I've got the results. There's only one way that we know whether we're committed enough to our result, and that's if we get it or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
There's only one way we know. Like the only way I know I was committed enough to actually complete the Ironman is because I completed it. That's it. Now there's 100 other reasons why you might not complete the Ironman, or you might not. And I'm just using Ironman as a placeholder for losing the right amount of body fat. You know, the amount of body fat you want. There's only one way you really know whether you hit it or not. And that's just whether you were committed enough. And the point of this slide here is that we all want to know what to do, but there's things happening further up the river that are stronger. So anybody can go to the Wit.fit website, download the nutrition guide and find out what to do. Or you can YouTube it, you can Google it, you can find it, you can find a plan. You can go to ChatGPT and create a specific nutrition plan exactly for you, and you can follow it. That's what to do. But is it fair to say that we haven't done it? Right? Maybe sometimes we have, and sometimes we haven't. And I'm talking from my own experience as well. So I have not sometimes done those things. And you heard me earlier saying I used to smoke. So I spent about 3 years trying to stop smoking. Smoking is a doing thing. The actual act of smoking is doing. Now, why did I smoke even though I didn't want to be smoking? Like I'm trying to quit for 3 years. I had a feeling of smoking. I had a feeling that I need a cigarette. Now, the words "I need a cigarette" was my thinking. That was my thinking, and what I say generates a feeling in my body. So, Gary, when you get home and you're like, "I need a croissant," right? You know the croissant is not going to help you to lose fat, but then you feel like the croissant, and you eat it, and you do it anyway, and then you're like, "Fuck, I'm eating the croissant," right? So it's the same for me when I was smoking, and same for food. I've had the same thing with food. I think I need it, or maybe I just want it, whatever. And then I think about it so much that I generate this really strong feeling that I kind of can't ignore, and then you go and do it, and the result is not useful. So the thinking is where it's at, and where you're thinking and speaking about things is where you can notice why we have these feelings to go and eat. Are you tracking that so far?
Yeah.
Now, what I've learned this year is there's a level above that, and that's being.
Yeah.
And being is identity. So being could be, I'm being a smoker. So if I'm being a smoker and I want to stop smoking, but I'm still being a smoker, I'm just trying to quit smoking, but I'm still being a smoker, it's really, really hard to not smoke. In fact, it's pretty much impossible. You're going to fail all the time. It took me 3 years to realize that who I wanted to be was a healthy person. And I started being a healthy person, and suddenly I didn't really think smoking was that great. I didn't think of it as that great thing anymore. Or I didn't think it gave me anything. I didn't speak like, "Oh, I need a cigarette." And when I stopped speaking about it being such an amazing thing, guess what? I didn't have the feeling. And then I didn't do the doing. And then the result was I stopped smoking. So the question is, who do you need to be to achieve what you want to achieve? So what is it you want to achieve? If it's an ideal body fat, the question is, who do I need to be to achieve the body fat percentage? Do I need to be, am I going to carry on being a wine drinker, a wine person? Am I a wine person right now? Am I being a wine person? This is a great one. I think about wine. I think about, it could be beer. Right? I think beer's great. Beer gives me I deserve a beer. I've had a hard day at work and have a beer. I deserve a beer. Yeah. Guess what I feel like doing? Having a beer.
Yeah.
But I know beer's not useful.
Mm.
Shit. That's pretty hard at this point to stop having a beer. So you can use willpower for a certain amount of time, but realistically, most people's willpower will crumble after about a week or two. That's why when we go for a new diet, like, right, I can stick on this diet for a couple of weeks, and then maybe you don't have anyone checking in on you, so you forget about it, or maybe just the feeling becomes so strong to go back to your old ways because of who you were being. You're just trying a doing thing to lose fat. I mean, it hasn't worked for many, many years, but we still look at trying to do a new thing all the time. And I'm not saying it's not criticism of anyone. This is me recognizing it in myself. I'm going to try and do this new program. I'm going to take this new supplement. It's not doing things. It's being things. So, yeah. Does that make sense? Have you got any questions? Have I explained that well enough?
Yeah, I think what you're saying, what you're saying about, having a beer and things like that. I'm consciously now not drinking as much beer as what I used to, and I've been, based on what you were saying, red wine and things like that is better, and looking at that a bit more. But I don't really drink as much now, and consciously I'm sort of thinking of you, and I'm not eating as much. I'm trying to do smaller portions, or not having as much type of thing. So what?
If one of the things that I got called out on myself, Gary, was stop trying. Stop trying.
Yeah.
Start doing it. Start being.
Yeah.
Stop trying to not, blah blah blah, and just stop being the person who does it. There's a big difference. When we say I'm going to try, our brain hears, yeah, you don't have to though. Said with love. We all do it. There's just like a little shift. Jordan, what are you saying?
No, I think it's I think I've just created a habit more than anything of, my lad, he's a diabetic, so we measure all his food out, we weigh it all to make sure he gets the correct amount of insulin, etc. Yeah. And now I do that with everything that I eat. I've been conscious of looking at labels for everything that he eats, but not for what I eat. So now I've just made it a habit that for everything that we eat, I look at the label. and I think that
you're trying to explain the result you've had by what you've done.
Yeah.
And it's not, you had to be somebody to do those things.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that's being committed to the process.
Yes.
And creating by being committed, I've done so many things that I haven't done before.
Yeah.
But it's that commitment of, you only you got to trust in the process and believe it, and then and be it, as you say.
That's it.
Yeah, it is interesting because you can even just then, just how quickly did I go into I'm doing. I've created a habit. I'm doing these things that I didn't do before. Yeah. And the reality is that the conscious mind or the present, being in the presence is just constantly telling me that you feel that your health and well-being is more important than it was 12 weeks ago. So you're continuing on that path.
Yeah.
And I tell myself I have to do the app, because if I don't do the app, I know what will happen. I might just go, one day I don't do it, I don't have to do it the next day then, because I've broken the cycle now. But
yeah, I mean, you will get to the point where it's like brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
You're being somebody who just brushes their teeth. You don't need to record it in an app.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like, that's just what I do.
Yeah.
So whilst the app is useful, it's created like the habit, like you said, it was really the being of commitment that got you the result you got.
Yeah.
And, you know, I actually coached my dad, and I did 2 one-to-one coaching sessions with him, and he lost 2 stone, and everyone wanted to know, and was like, what did he do?
Yeah.
What did he do? He did do things, obviously he did things, but like, that's what I said at the start, those are the bullshit reasons. Everyone wants to know what to do, and I've been guilty of it as well. I've made tons and tons of videos. I could have easily made this whole video about what to do.
Yeah.
How much food to eat, how much protein to eat, how much water to drink, when to go, because there'll be other things that you're doing, Ben, as well, which come from being commitment, like getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
Training when you've got a hamstring still, an injury still. Maybe you're not sitting down quite so much because you're a bit more aware of that. You're moving around a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's loads of things when you start thinking about it.
Oh God, yeah. yeah, there is.
And that's the other thing. It can feel so overwhelming. Like I've read so many books about what to do to blah blah blah, and science says do this and do that and do this, and I'm like trying to do 100 different things. I'm trying to check them all off.
Yeah.
But if you're just being commitment, that stuff just flows. You're just brushing your teeth. It's just what you do. It's not difficult. Not as difficult.
No, that's. I think when I go back to when I first started, and I said to you what I would find difficult within the process, which was the eating element of it.
Yeah.
Because I did only probably have 1 meal a day and 3 bags of crisps and a bag of nuts or something like that. Whereas,
and a pork pie.
Yeah, because I was hungry. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, with brown sauce. But yeah, because I felt hungry at that time, so I probably starved myself. Whereas now I'm eating better, and yeah, within a week, I felt the difference. The energy, you know, I was looking at why aren't I losing weight? But my God, did I feel lighter? Did I feel more energetic? It was incredible. To be honest with you. So yeah, it was a lot. When it's not abstract, you can, and it's tangible. I think those sort of things help me as a person anyway.
Those build confidence, right? So
Yeah.
when you start seeing a little bit of results. So with Ben, we actually we gave you a maintain plan, didn't we?
Yeah.
And you didn't lose any fat or didn't lose any weight.
Mm-hmm.
You just felt better.
Yeah.
Again, this is a doing thing, by the way, but still relevant. You improved the quality of what you were eating. You got more regular with your food. Those are both doing things, all stemming from your being of commitment. And then we just changed your plan a little bit, and then you lost
a little tweak.
Yeah, but those are all doing.
Yeah.
And so somebody will listen to this and they'll go, right, I'm going to go and get that nutrition plan. I'm going to go and do what Ben did.
Yeah, but you still got to be committed to that nutrition plan. If you're not committed to it, it's not worth the paper it's written on.
There it is. That is the big revelation of my year. Sounds like a really simple thing, but it's profound. Yeah. So that is being, and I hope that was a worthy explanation of it. because it's been really great for me personally, and it's been really great for everybody who's joined and works with me this year. And useful, yeah. So there's a lot more I could talk about all of that, but here we go. Powerful commitments. Here we go. It's almost like I prepared this. Okay, yeah. So how do we know we've been committed? We just hit the metrics or not. That's it. Don't beat yourself up. You're just like, oh, okay, my body fat's not where it needs to be. Zoom out. Don't judge yourself. It's easy said than done, but let's there's tools to undo that judgment that we've got. What are the good metrics for your health? Body fat is one of them. There's the Super 6 Wellbeing Score, which I will share, or you can just ask me for it if you want it, and I'll share it with you. That's a quiz. That is a doing quiz. To be fair, that's a quiz about whether you're doing things or not. That's just a number. That just gives you a number. So you're either training 3 times a week. Sometimes, most of the time, if you're doing it most of the time, you get a point. And you've got a number. You've got metrics that you can judge your process on. Like in a business, you can judge metrics on, and then profit or whatever it is. Another great one is VO2 max, which is longevity. Now we don't really do that. We do a little bit because we have the MOT week, so we have our testing week, and we do actually do a cardio test on there. So there will be a direct translation of the amount of calories you hit in 20 minutes and the VO2 max that you have. And the reason we do that test is because VO2 max is one of the best indicators of longevity, one of the best metrics to use. But there's tons of these metrics. You can go and get all sorts of tests and blah blah blah. But these three are pretty solid.
What do you mean by longevity? Then is that...
yeah, I mean like how long you're likely to live.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean how long you're likely to live in good health, not
yeah.
Yeah.
Nostradamus predicting I'll live until 150.
Yeah. So that's powerful commitments. And I mean, most of the coaching that I've had so far, well, it's not been a lot, but most of it's about getting really committed. And what's funny is that my coach sent me a voice note this morning, and he said to me, here's what here's the kind of states of being that you're going to need. And it was all kind of same sort of stuff that I say to you guys. It's like, show up,
yeah,
have fun, be courageous, because this like process of coaching takes courage, because it's about being vulnerable. Especially blokes, we rarely talk about this kind of stuff. Feelings. When was the last time we actually spoke about that? Ooh. But it's powerful because it's dictating everything we do, pretty much. So yeah, it was quite funny. It was like, oh, so I just need to drink my own Kool-Aid.
Yeah, take some of your own medicine.
We've had this slide already, so let's say if you're watching this on the repeat, then connect with me. Okay, tools. I've got a free Facebook group called the Lean Body Masterclass, which I'm putting some stuff in there. And it's, if you've got questions, the Facebook groups are a great place to put those questions, because other people will have the same question. They'll be thinking about it. So even, I don't mind if it's a doing question, a being question, whatever question. Go ahead, put it in the Facebook group, because other people will see it and then they'll get an answer too. So you're helping other people by asking questions. Most people are lurkers. They lurk in groups. They don't contribute to them. So, but you're going to get more out of it if you ask the questions. YouTube, social media, focus on one voice, on one methodology. Like I said, if it's not me, that's fine. But focus on one methodology that works, and just absorb it and get into it. So, like I said, with my coach, I was, before 2 days ago, I was just listening to so many different things, and actually I've got bits of this guy's methodology and bits of that one and bits of this one, and I haven't really committed to one methodology, and I was just getting overwhelmed on certain things. Whereas just in the last 2 days, I've just, do you know what, I'm not listening to anybody else. There's loads of great stuff out there, but I've just spent a lot of money to listen to this guy, so I'm going to actually listen to him and be vulnerable and go for it. So dial it in. The free download for the updated nutrition guide is on the website wit.fit, so go grab that. And then the Super 6 quiz is the quiz on all of the different things that are doing things that will move the lever for you. So that's why I didn't spend this whole hour talking about what to do, because there's a quiz which will tell you all of that stuff, and there's a guide on the website. It's just, go and read it. There's videos on it. There's all sorts. Do you guys have any questions?
No, I'm just soaking it all in at the moment. So maybe after I've gone on the Whitfit page and have a look through, I might have some from them.
Yeah, study that guide. I mean, it says it at the start of the guide is, so, some people will study this and they'll get amazing results, and some people will flick through it and not really get anything from it, and there'll just be another piece of information. But study it, print it out, highlighter it, like really ask questions, find the mistakes. There are mistakes in it. Then I'll know you read it.
Spelling mistakes, yeah, I've seen them.
That's how you know it's me.
I didn't know it was. I didn't say it was you. I just said I've noticed the mistakes.
How you know it's my real work? There's a spelling mistake in there.
You got me. Here we go. Me epic life genre.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
This is my favourite book now. It's all about me. Bit of a self-indulgence. A lot of retrospectives looking at what I've done over the previous days and whatnot. But it's good fun.
Thanks for showing up. I know it probably wasn't what you were expecting to listen to today, but I hope it was useful. And the reason I said I didn't go for just the standard like what to do stuff is because there's tons of videos about what to do. And the biggest shifts that I've seen in people is where I've been coaching them in their being. I mean, one person, if I'm coaching, has done about 4 or 5 one-to-ones with me, and they've just completely changed. Not changed they're completely different, but got back to who they really are. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
And losing body fat was just a part of that process. There's other things.
Mm.
And why do we overeat certain things? Well, usually it's emotional eating. So if we can,
tired, go to bed then.
Yeah,
that's what I think. That's what I used to do. Yeah. And let's not. Yeah.
The stress, right? Sometimes it's stress, and stress is what? Stress is a catch-all term for other emotions like anger. I'm angry at something. I'm frustrated with this thing. Stress is not a thing on its own. There's other things within stress. And so once you nail that, then suddenly the emotional eating is gone.
Yeah.
I tried I tried loads of like nutritional plans with some people, and sometimes they work really well, and then sometimes they don't. And the people who they don't work with, I'm personally getting frustrated with myself. So I'm like, what have I done wrong here? But then since I've learned this, now I've realized it's not about following the plan. It's about helping further up the chain, further up the river with this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. That is all for now. Thanks for being here.
Carl, thanks for
That's good. No, thanks.
Yeah.
Again. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Reassuring, reminding. It's good. Yeah.
So watch it back if you get a chance, and share it with somebody who might benefit from it. that would be great. And if you've got any questions that kind of, if it sparks any questions, I'm just planting seeds in your mind, because this grows, and more you understand it, the more you understand it, the more you realize it's ever present in every part of our lives, not just when we want to lose fat.
Yeah.
And that's quite exciting.
If you're
really.
being the clown, you are the clown.
Yeah. many places. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Cheers, Ben. Catch you later.